Relive the excitement with highlights of the 4 days competition. The 50cc automatics, or Pee-wees as they're known, turned out in force to make up what must be one of the sights of motorsport. Despite their diminutive dimensions, there was nothing scaled down about this contest, which was a hard-fought affair between a number of experienced racers who needed all their grit and determination to succeed. Who knows, we may be watching a Mr. Motocross of the year 2000. Honours eventually went to number 54, South Australian Peter Phillips, from Clint Gow Smith, 59, and 299, Shannon Watkins in third. Up now to the conventional 50s and 60s, which are thoroughbred racing motorcycles. This is the up to 9 years 50cc's. At last year's titles, an 8 years event was won by 59, the Barossa Valley's Tobin Schmidtke, and Tobin proved that was no fluke by winning this one too. In the up to 8 years 60cc's, the credentialed rider was the 1985 Pee-wee champion Shannon Stewart, number 230. Although he wasn't too confident on Friday, he did eventually get up from South Australian Travis Hill and fellow New South Welshman Ricky Dillon. Moving up to the 9 to 10 years 60s, and Tobin Schmidtke served notice for next year with a creditable third behind number 111, Craig Carmichael from Alice Springs, and number 22, Ian Cunningham from Goulburn, New South Wales. Ian was the outstanding rider in this age group, with his consistent and effortless style also taking him to a win in the 80s, but not without some drama behind him involving Mount Gambier's Michael Janeway and Tobin Schmidtke. Michael and Tobin are good mates, and there were no hard feelings, but this crash cost them dearly, and the minor places went to Victorians Jason Kennedy and Craig Holt. Crashes were to play a big part of this meeting, too big a part we feel, as it appeared that almost everyone had fallen at some stage. Of course, the wet didn't help, but even in practice there were stacks of stacks. Compared to virtually injury-free titles last year on the fast and challenging Ballarat circuit, this one was a debacle from a safety viewpoint. The second corner here was diabolical in traffic and could be counted on for collisions almost every race. conditions, the St John's Ambulance Brigade were there in numbers, and really it's impossible to thank these people enough for what they do. Here they were very effective. Most falls look a lot worse than they really are, and a little first aid usually resulted in a trackside recovery. Mind you, the brigade weren't taking any chances, and more than one competitor found themselves strapped up and on their way to the field hospital after being a bit slow to get back up again. Back to the racing now with the 10 to 12 years 50cc's. By 12 years of age, the good riders have all the skills, and even on a 50 they can be very spectacular. Local ace Kim Buick won this one from Victoria's Glenn Smith and Fonzie Mullen.
Second spot, that's Adam Miller, and then we go back to number 38 from Victoria, Craig Andrews in that third position. Around that right-hander, over the first jump they go.
In the 11 to 12 years 60cc's, it ended up being an all-Victorian affair, with honours going to Jason Andrew, number 335, from Fonzie Mullen and Craig Andrews.
He's been out there before during this 1986 national title, and he knows what it's all about, the lead. And the one that's coming through from the inside right, gee, I tell you, that was a big move, because it's relegated 455 back to that third place, and that's Adam Miller.
Sydney-sider Jamie Hansen, number 29, didn't win a trophy, but he had quite a meeting. First off, he kept getting stuck on turn 2. Jamie's meeting finished with a heavy crash on the last day, but like most of the riders, he had a ball and is keen for next year.
Except for the mud, it puts it off a bit.
It was getting a bit hard yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really hard just trying to get for the mud.
How are you going in the qualifying?
Oh, I've qualified on both of my bikes and going for the finals.
That's good. You had a bit of bad luck out there. You came down a couple of times on the top corner. What happened?
Just got knocked off. Kids coming across, hitting you. Both fell down.
Is this your first title?
Yep.
How does it feel being out here in the national titles? Big field?
Feels really good to be racing in a big title.
Are you going to win a trophy?
Hopefully.
Half a break, big clean them. Now we've got out 3/4 left to go, and there he goes. It's 56, Kim Buick from South Australia. 268 still in that second position. That's Tony McCullough. Then we go back to 201 in third. That's Stacey Alderman from New Zealand. 55, Jason Jack.
The 80cc's here was a three-state affair, with New South Wales rider Bradley McCartan winning fairly comfortably from Western Australian Glenn Fern, and then Kim Buick, the home stater. 13 to 14 years 80cc's, the biggest field of all, and yet all eyes are on one rider, number 39, Chris Hill from Melbourne. Chris, with 10 national titles and a second in the World Championships to his credit, is the rider to beat. The main challenge is from Honda rider number 303, Rodney Hamilton, also from Melbourne. Rodney is a real tiger. He won the 11 to 12 years last year, then turned 13 and took the Victorian title from Chris. Here he is with some friends.
I saw all you lot last year at Ballarat, and you're back here again. How are you going at Adelaide?
I got first on the 80, and on the 100 I got second.
And how are you going?
In the first race I come fourth, and in the second race I fell off and I come sixth.
And you?
I got a third, a fourth, and a fifth.
Who's going to win this year?
Rodney.
You all agree with him this time.
Yeah, I've got a pretty good chance against Chris Hill because I beat him in the first race and my bike's really quick this year, so I'll probably beat him.
In the end, it was a bit of an anti-climax, with Hilly virtually sealing it in the first two finals. Third was Lee Hogan, a former West Australian who moved to Victoria to further his racing.
Look at what else out there at the present moment. The two boys out in front, there's no love at all between these two. Up the hill now!
In the 100cc class, it went down to the wire, with Lee on 3:07 winning out from Clayton Chapman and then Rodney in third. At 14 years, 125s are on the program, and again Chris Hill was triumphant. Second on the KTM was Stephen Maguire, 36, the same rider who really stretched Chris in a thrilling finale to last year's titles. And third, Suzuki-mounted Troy Doran, all Victorians. 15 to 16 years, 80 cc's, and Dandenong's Mark Englezos, number 31, is successful in defending his title from South Australian Roger Burt and brother Paul Englezos. In the 100 cc's, it was very close between South Oz's Mark Wibley on 5:01 and Victorian Clinton Pangborn, number 350.
In out there, how did you go?
I come in second. I had a bit of problem with the bike, so brought me back. It took me back. I was winning and I went back to second, so can't do much about it.
And how did you go yesterday?
Pretty good. I was pretty happy with myself yesterday. Got a couple of seconds, a couple of thirds, so it's pretty good.
What conditions do you prefer, yesterday's or today's?
Doesn't worry me. I'm not fussy. Yesterday's would be a bit better though for the finals.
How long have you been riding, Clinton?
For about 7 years.
What made you start?
My dad used to ride, my father used to ride bikes, and he just got me into the bikes because my cousins used to ride them. So I started riding myself. I just kept at it, so I like the sport.
In the end, Mark and Clint tied in first, with Roger Burt second and Brett Knockolds third. The 125s was the event this year, and it was fiercely contested. Favourite was number 110, Jason Hill from the Northern Territory. Jason's radical and aggressive riding won him the title and a lot of fans at Ballarat last year, but he was involved in a tangle on the start straight, which put paid to his run, and he finished in second. A dark horse was Queenslander John Utley, number 434. John got away to amazing starts and then rode very consistently to finish overall in third. The title went to Paul Englezos, making it one each in the family, and this is one trophy that we are sure Paul will really treasure. "17 years and over, of course, was a classy and experienced affair, but most of the glory was to go to a rider just up to this class, number 506, Jason Battams from South Australia's Riverland. Jason took out the 80s and the 125s. Third and second respectively in these was Victorian Darren Holford, also recently of age. Second in the 80s was South Australian personality Andrew Bradbrook, and third in the 125s, Victorian Craig Harris. In the 100 cc's, it was South Australians Wayne Rabbits, number 52, and Martin Draper, 55, from 34, Victorian Derek Woods.
Stephen back in that first lap, we've got Stephen Peter Samuels, 510, holding off a good chunk that first lap. We've got one rider coming down, 526, Barry Pittman from South Australia, get untied in.
One of our favourite classes is the sidecars, and here it was a home state affair between champions Mark and Peter Barrett on 54 and former champions Andrew Kusner and Scott Korski on 503. Here are the Barrett brothers.
Well, we more or less been brought up on sidecars. Dad used to ride them when he was a youngster and we've sort of just grown up on them. so he's just sort of passed his skills down to us, and we're trying to carry him on.
You get on well together as brothers?
Yeah, quite good, yeah.
And which one's the rider?
Mark.
I am.
You're the rider.
Yes.
You have absolute faith in him?
Absolute faith, yeah. Have to have.
Has he dropped you any time?
No, I've fallen off though, a few times. By accident.
Where does that leave you when he falls off?
That leaves me completely in the dark.
This one was really close, with only 1 point the difference going into the final round. It looked all over when Andrew and Scott tipped their outfit over.
This is it, 156 on your program this morning. We can do that. 7 machines up the sail. That's Gusto that's down in the middle.
But they caught up again in a lap and pushed hard, but were unable to get by.
Huge up they come now, and it's still Nicky Gator, the South Australian flyer, looking good.
The ladies' 80cc was again won by Nicky Gator, number 508, despite a very determined effort from Raylene Flint, number 32. Third was tied between Mandy McKenzie and Tracy Ann Brooks.
Nicky Gator, still running hard and keeping their...
The four strokes, not super fast but great sounding, was dominated by Victorian Russell Wilson, who wears a checkered flag, with the minor places being a seesawing affair between Tyrone Benson and Craig Andrews. That's a wrap-up of the winners, but win or lose, it was a big event for all involved. We'd like to acknowledge now all the people who cheerfully worked to make this a success and finish up as the presentation did, with a tribute to one in particular, Jess Carl, 10 years service to the sport and a very popular lady. See you all next year in Alice Springs.